Welcome to another episode of Smart Takes. It's good to see your face again. Miss Jenifer Harmon, our restaurant practice lead. And I am Kristen Bankert, Associate Creative Director here at St. John. So today we are going to talk about the restaurant value wars.
Our favorite topic.
I know, seriously. It's my favorite topic too. And I can personally vouch for all of the value meals that we're going to talk about.
Exactly. I put my glasses on so I don't miss any of the ingredients to the success.
Exactly. So fast food chains have always had value meals of some sort. They tended to be a little higher price for their kind of bigger, better items. But what we've seen recently, I think it was Wendy's that actually kind of started this whole thing, is this packaging of a really affordable value bag with, or whatever, value meal with a lot of stuff in it for kind of a shockingly low price. Like Wendy's has their $5 biggie bag, and it's really, really impressive what they put in it, which again, I have sampled a lot.
It's true.
Yeah.
It
so
is.
it's let's see, it's a burger chicken sandwich that you can choose from, right? You choose between French fries, 4-count nugget meal, and a drink.
That's exactly right.
Or a Frosty, a Junior Froster, I think. Right.
Yeah.
So, and, I personally can attest to trying this many times with my daughter. She's an athlete and we're swinging through drive-thrus, and I don't want to spend $15, $20 every time we're doing that. So she gets a ton of food for $5, which is really incredible.
And I would say that the biggie bag was aptly named because from the moment that they sort of set up at Wendy's, their value platform, they really leaned into quantity and variety and options. Mm-hmm. And that was really what set them apart from really almost any of the other players. When we came out of COVID and people really had to lean into value menus, and they were struggling a little bit and trying to find their way. McDonald's had the value menu for years with like a $1 burger, $1 fry, a lot of things like that. But they also got creative in that time, and they did a really good job, I think, in kind of keeping their guests, particularly during COVID. And then we got all the way fast forward up here, had a little bit of the rocky times in the economy. And so what you saw was really McDonald's getting creative and maybe to some degree mimicking Wendy's, because they came out with their own value meal that included bonus for chicken nuggets. So, you had the McNuggets, you had the drink, you had a choice of a sandwich. And so that really was variety and options that they hadn't had before. Great price, $5.
And here's, not to interject, but here's the other brilliant part of it, is when we would go through and I would order that $5 biggie bag, like my daughter loves the chicken nuggets, but there wasn't enough. Right. So I would eat the burger. I would order another chicken nugget on top of it.
Right.
Plus we got the fries and the drink. So it was still affordable, even adding food onto it.
So affordable.
Yeah. So I'm even adding food onto it,
Exactly.
which that supplemental order, is doing even more. And then we're both eating. So it's not just the $5, it's 7 or 10, but now I feel like we're feeding both of us.
Exactly. And then last year, you and I've talked about this before, Taco Bell did an incredible job coming out with their luxury brats.
Yes.
Their box for luxury. And they came out with this $7 meal, and it had lots of options. It had, the queso, it had choices. And it was so much food for $7. And now they've kind of expanded that where they're going to get a little bit more profit because they've added a $9 one. But then they've also added a $5 one. So they're going to compete head to head with McDonald's and Wendy's and everybody else that's got a reasonably priced, value meal out there. But they're also going to have that pretty huge amount of food for $9. And, by the time you're tipped, you're still under $10 in most states. So I really think they have kind of set themselves apart at having that. Not everybody's going to want to go eat a $10 value meal. Right. But when you want that, and, they lean a lot into late night where the other two do not do as much advertising around late night. They do such an exceptional job of being the place that a college kid craves in the middle of the night, or high school kids are coming home from sports and they want to eat some food. So, I think if we had to pick a winner, I don't know that we could really pick one. I think maybe we give, the biggie bag the legendary award for having the most variety earlier than anybody else for the best price. And maybe we have, I don't know, McDonald's coming in with, what was clearly as close to what they could do to drive in guests. And what they're saying, Kristen, is that they're not necessarily getting new guests, but they're getting increased frequency. And some lapsed users coming back. So maybe they're getting the volleyball player and the mom going and trying different things at different times. So they're maybe probably competing pretty well head on head.
Right.
I do think that Taco Bell is kind of an outlier. It's not quite the same. The others are a little comparable to each other. And I think it's, you may not always want Mexican food, so it's
Sure.
maybe sets you apart. But here's what I'd love to get your point of view on. When we did all of the Zaxby's work and the Metro Diner work and the Ruby Tuesday work and the Smoothie King work and et cetera, when you've got value and pricing as what has to almost be the message that's setting it apart, the strategy,
Mm-hmm.
how do you drive that interest
Mm-hmm.
to come into the store? How do you set that food up? What do you do to get that crave to move
Yeah.
the needle and get people to immediately take advantage of it?
I think first of all, it starts with the quality of the photography, the food footage. It's got to look good. I mean, these are not unfamiliar brands. Everyone knows what it looks like. But to your point with the Taco Bell, they elevated it. They called it it's Taco Bell. And now they've created a Lux box, which is it seems a little like contradictory. I don't know, but they've done
Louis Vuitton of quick service.
Exactly. But I like it too. It's, because you can make all the jokes you want to about, it's when after you've come home from the club and you're running through, Taco Bell. But so they've kind of elevated their product, which is good. And then listen, you're never going to not want to eat McDonald's French fries, right?
No.
You put those on the TV or whatever.
People are going to get in their car and drive.
Yeah, people are going to get that.
I agree.
You show that in any kind of video form, people are going to I need McDonald's French fries, right?
Right.
There's never not a good time for McDonald's French fries. So I think they've done a good job of demonstrating, how craveable their food is, reminding people. And then you punctuate that with a $5 price tag. And people could mix and match. I mean, you could run through Taco Bell for one kid and run through Wendy's for another because they're all together. And now you're serving everybody.
Exactly.
And so
the Rodeo drive of QSR.
Exactly. Now it is, right? And, there's also some cleverness. So what I love about this, we had the chicken wars a couple of years ago, which was very fun for everyone, especially on social media. But Wendy's is very aware that everyone is following suit. And their social media is one of my favorite things to follow just because they're a little bit acerbic and they're definitely antagonistic, which I love.
I love it.
People want to be bullied by Wendy's.
They're thumbing their nose a little bit. Actually.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right. So they basically were like, oh, we see everyone's trying to be us, but just remember, they're not us. They don't taste like us. You guys are sloppy seconds. It's hilarious.
It's great. Yeah. It's amazing. And even if you're going to maybe go to McDonald's instead of going to Wendy's, you're going to appreciate Wendy's and you're probably going to come back in soon. You're going to try it because that humor drives you. It makes you feel like they get you and you get them. I think that's really great. Well,
I have a question for you, though.
I'd love
because so now we've got this established. Right. And look, the economy is what it is, and people are appreciating having this option, affordable option to be able to go out, whether it's an indulgence or whether it's, a kind of a quick fix or whatever it is without breaking the bank. Can these brands ever take it away? I mean, now that it's established and people love it and if it's successful, can they ever take it away, or is this here to stay?
I mean, I think that when you really do look back at McDonald's, they had a value meal for a very long time. They still had incredible premium products that you could step up to.
Sure.
And people did because they were even more magnificent and more gooey and chewy and bacony and delicious, with all that great sauce. So, it gives it sort of, if you keep a value platform and the product is good and the options are there, it allows people to feel confident that they can go and afford to drive through for 2 or 3 or 4 people. I think you really do a great job with that kind of menu, particularly with families or larger party sizes. But if you have the most compelling, craveable, delicious upsell sitting right in their face in the drive-thru, so you're asking them if they are signed up on the app. And by the way, do you know we have this brand new, amazing McDonald's McPremium, Mac Luxury burger? People are going to trade up.
Right.
So I think you keep them coming in on the value menu. You allow them to trade up. And then if you push out a lot of messaging around the more premium products, you'll get that trial and you'll get those people to come back in the door. And that's true for any of these brands.
Sure.
I think Taco Bell has always done a really great job of being super affordable, and none of their price points have ever been really high. So the real excitement around the Luxe Box was that they were combining so many things. Unbelievable.
For sure.
And for, again, such a very low price. And then, as we said, Wendy sort of wins the setting the tone for mixing and matching and staying at $5, which I do think is a really happy price point for people.
At one point, they added a $6 value meal as well. They had a $5 and a $6, and there was a difference, I think, in the sandwich that you could get.
Yes.
I think it's just back down to $5.
And I know, and they change it around a lot, but I think all three of these need to keep at least a base product in line for that, so that people can count on it. And then, people trade up all the time. Their eyes are always bigger than their stomach. They get super excited when they see new things. New products are always great. So if you can keep that thread of that product promotion and that value menu in there all the time, and then you're driving them in on top of that with these really great new promotions, and you're not letting the other one go, and you're keeping some steady hum around that.
Right.
I actually really think these three brands for sure will win.
Yes.
And we've seen them, through the years, always be able to get back on the top. They've been around forever. You can count on the quality. It's fresh food. The franchisees and almost all of them are just really wonderful people. So I think that we all win. I think that's who wins the QSR wars.
Yeah,
we all win as consumers.
For sure. It's definitely been helpful for our family, and we're on the run and we just grab something. So it's nice to have those options, and we're definitely the family that's like, oh, the new Girl Scout mint frosty. Yes, we will take it out while we're here. Thank you.
Oh, and I have to say that I just love the fact that you can trade out on that biggie bag the drink for the frosty.
Yes,
I know it's junior size, but that's all I need.
That's all we need.
I just need the junior size.
Yeah. Well, this was very fun to talk about. And thank you for your insight as always. And
well, thank you for talking to me. This is a core competency of St. John. We love food and we love restaurants, and you're such an incredible creative director. And I have just had such a joy to work with you for years and continue to work with you. And it's just exciting to talk about brands we love.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Thank you.
Talk soon.
We will. Bye.